Hello, so my name is Alicia. I'm an exercise physiologist. I work at NeuroMoves in Melbourne, and I've been here for about 4 years. So I started off in Adelaide, transitioned over to Melbourne, but I've worked here for about 4 years with lots and lots of different clients with different sort of conditions, and I've done lots of hydrotherapy across the years. So excited to chat about hydro today.
I know we're going to talk about a subject that makes me feel a little bit, whatever inside, because I have some bad memories. No, it's okay. No, we're going to talk about the importance of hydrotherapy and exercising in water.
A traditional hydro pool is pretty warm, so I think it's, off the top of my head, like 26 to 30 something degrees.
And we're not even bothering going to translate that to Fahrenheit because,
no, don't know what that is. Hydro is super, super beneficial for lots of different people. It can be really great to do in conjunction with other sorts of therapy. And there's lots of different things about hydro that is helpful for people. So, the concept of buoyancy. So essentially, when you're in the water, it reduces the effect of gravity, so the water's obviously holding you up, so it decreases how much load is going through your legs. So if it's a client that can weight bear, they're not going to be weight bearing as much, so it can be really help to do whether it's some balance or some walking or even some strength sort of training, because you're going to have that little bit of decreased weight through the legs. And the other great benefit, and something that I say to my clients all the time, I'm like, the best part about it is that if you fall over, no one's getting hurt. We'll catch you, we'll get you back up. It's just a really great, safe environment. So, yes. I know, maybe.
Just like so much PTSD from our previous conversation. Anyway.
I know, it's really safe. It's really safe.
No. Okay, so, and for people listening, we had this giant conversation, before recording this episode about how I just have some very PTSD issues with hydrotherapy. So for me, this episode is hilarious and
kind of triggering.
But it was the 90s, kids. It was the 90s. It was just very much like no one cared about safety.
Well, I guess that leads into, let's talk about safety. Let's talk about
safety, because we want to make the next generation of me not afraid of the water.
Exactly. Something that, I have this debate with lots of different clients as well. So I think there's a couple of things to think about when you're in the water. So first one is that there's so many amazing equipment items that we use to help with this sort of thing. So I have some clients that come into the pool and use a little neck float. So it's like that little beanbag sort of material that goes around their neck, and it just keeps their head above the water at all times. So for someone that is, doing actual swimming, so whether that's some freestyle or backstroke is a great one with this little neck float, your head is always going to be above the water. It's almost impossible to go underwater with this float around your neck. That same sort of float can be used around your hips to keep your hips up. So if you wanted to do some, some supine, so some exercises lying on your back, if you think snow angels but in the water, we can keep you nice and sort of afloat with some of those. Then there's things like different sort of floaties, like just the blow-up ones around your arms. But I think it's important to chat about the opposite as well. So everyone's really different. Some people are a lot more buoyant than others, and it also depends on, I guess, your the makeup of your body and the proportions as well. So, some clients might be top heavy and a bit less sort of muscle and fat in the lower legs, or vice versa. So we can do something like ankle weights around your feet to help your feet stay down, especially if they are, lighter than your upper body. Ankle weights around the feet will keep you upright almost. So there's different ways around that, but there's lots of different equipment that can really help with safety and all of that.
Obviously, a whole range of neurological conditions can get in the pool and do some stuff. Why is it so beneficial?
Yeah, so I think that one of the really great things about hydro, and something that I've really witnessed with a lot of my clients, is especially for clients that have really high levels of tone or spasticity. So I guess for those who don't know what that is, it's just when your muscles almost stay really contracted, or that they might quickly contract at different times, or I think example is, if you think of your hands and you scrunch your hands up, some people are like that all the time. Their muscles are quite toned all the time, and I think being in the warm water can really help to sometimes relax your muscles and really, let the muscles sort of give a little bit, and you can do some really great range of motion. So like, I was saying before about little snow angels, like that's a great exercise I get some of my clients to do, just to try and relax and just try and get a bit of range through. And the water's nice and warm, and I've had a lot of clients say like a bit of a freeing effect, like they feel really free in the water because they can just sort of move really nicely. So can really help with some of that tightness, tone, and sometimes even pain management as well.
Back to the pain management.
Back to the pain, yeah. Hydro is great for people that do have high levels of pain and maybe want something that's just a little bit lower impact. So as I was sort of chatting about before with like the buoyancy, when that is taking a big portion of your body weight and sort of holding it for you, you're going to have less load through the legs. So then if we do something like you can do underwater running or underwater jumping, it's just you're really supported in the water, so it's going to really reduce that impact. And then, if we were talking about, let's say, shoulder pain, all the different sort of ranges of motion that you can do with your shoulders, doing that in the pool is quite supported. Like, you've got water everywhere, so you've got that resistance, but it's nice and consistent, it's nice and warm, it's nice and, really low impact, and can really help just with some mobility and some pain management from that perspective.
People might be like, yeah, you've just talked about running, you've just talked about walking, I can't do any of those things. So how do I get into the pool, and what sort of exercises can I do as somebody who's using a wheelchair or something like that? Yeah,
I'm really keen to talk about this because this is another thing that we've come into lots of conversations with. So there's lots of different ways that you can get into the pool. Obviously, it depends on, your capacity and also what facilities are at the pool as well. So something like a pool wheelchair is great. So, you just transfer either from your chair straight into the pool chair, or you can be hoisted into the pool chair. You can transfer onto a bench and then onto the pool chair, whatever works for you. And of course, we're always here to assist. And then what we will do is we will wheel you down the pool ramp. So this can either be done with us pushing from behind, or we can stand in front and pull you down. And again, this is another thing where some clients prefer when I stand in front and sort of wheel them down, because they get quite fearful that they're going to tip forward, or whatever's more comfortable for you. We're really flexible with making it a good experience. So yeah, we'll sort of wheel you down the ramp, we'll pop the brakes on, pop you in the corner of the pool, take your seatbelt off, and then we can wheel you off from there. And I think, as I was chatting about before with ankle weights or floats or whatever that is, we can put them on before you get into the pool, so then as soon as you're in the water, you're nice and supported, or we can put them on after we've sort of transferred you out of the chair. So that's one way. Another option is some pools have a hoist that lowers straight into the water. So, we can get you all sort of set up in your chair outside of the pool with a hoist and the lifter all sort of clipped in. Your therapist will be in the pool waiting for you, and then, we'll get like a lifeguard or a carer or someone to operate the hoist, lower you down nice and slowly and safely into the pool as well. And then to get you out, it's just a reverse option of that. So a couple of different ways that we can, get you in and out of the pool. But yeah, exercise for people that don't have much function or sensation through lower body, heaps of different things. So whether it is more, manual from the therapist perspective, and we can sort of move you through those different ranges to get that sort of range of motion and the joint mobility effect. So we can move, if we're thinking snow angels, or I do push pulls to get knee flexion extension, we can do ankles or anything, that we're wanting to work on with that client. We can sort of help do a little bike motion, sort of help through, pretending you're on a bike underwater. If clients have got a little bit of strength, a little bit of mobility, they can start to do some of that on their own. And, being supine, so lying on your back, and doing that sort of thing is going to be a little bit easier, because although we're in the water, we're still sort of across gravity and we've got that resistance as we move, but it's not going to be quite as hard as, being upright in the pool. But yeah, so many different things we can do in the pool with people with limited, lower limb function, but really just dependent on, your goals and, what your condition is and then we'll go from there.
And in the episode that we recorded, 2022, we talked about the importance of standing for people who can't stand, and people can go and check that episode out. I think it's maybe it was even earlier than that, 2021. Oh my gosh, Alicia.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah.
When you're talking about hydrotherapy and people unable to use their legs or might not have a lot of mobility, do you want to just remind people again why this sort of exercising or the exercising of the lower limbs is important for people who can't move it or might not be able to?
Yeah, I would love to talk about this. I could talk about this for hours.
Please.
Look, I'm so passionate about this topic. I think it is so important to get people up and standing. So many different benefits, like blood pressure, helping, just to regulate being in that body position, getting load through your legs, getting that stretch through your hips, your knees, your ankles, getting that position of, being able to stand and then work on trunk and posture. And I think another really big thing that I don't think is talked about enough is just the whole fact that some people just want to be upstanding, like some people, that are in a chair are like, I just love to be up and standing for whatever reason that might be. Like even just that mental health side, like some clients just love it. They love being up, they love being, in that position. But doing it in the water is super beneficial in the sense that, like I mentioned, a part of your body weight is held for you, so it's not quite as challenging for the legs. You can do it up against the pool edge, you put your upper limbs or your arms on the edge, and then you can sort of be up against the pool wall, and then that's going to help you sort of get that extension right through the front of your body. I worked with a client who's quite a high sea level quad, so pretty limited function, sort of from like the shoulders down, and we were able to get him standing. So there was me, myself, a student, and him in the pool. So he was up against the edge, had his arms on the pool edge, and then myself and the student were on either side. We sort of helped with a little push, I guess, on his hips to get him up nice and tall, and then we'd sort of had it's a bit of a funny position, we had our feet on his knees to help his knees straighten, and then he was up standing as, just we were there for ages, and he felt really good and could really work on, that upper sort of trunk positioning and working on his head and shoulders and all that sort of control. And it's getting him into a stand in the clinic is a little bit different. We need quite a bit of sort of equipment to assist. Certainly possible, but the pool is just a really quick and easy way to get you up in that position. And we were standing there for, a good 10-15 minutes. So it's a really good way to get that standing in.
Now let's talk about the thing that I talked about a little bit earlier with my PTSD. What if someone is deathly afraid of the water? How would you sell hydrotherapy to them?
Yeah.
And what sort of approaches do you take on, like, for people who, just for one reason or another?
And look, it is tricky, because I think the biggest thing is obviously you don't want to discredit anyone's fears. Like we've all got fears for a reason, like whether it is a past experience or fear that something might happen, like a bit of anxiety about, the potential of drowning or not being safe or any of that. So something that's worked really well, I think, for me and some of my clients in the past is we sort of go through all the scenarios. I'm like, okay, what are you worried about? And then I'll almost combat whatever that is. So I might say, I'm worried that my head will go underwater and I won't be able to bring it back up. And I'll say, okay, we're going to put a neck float on. And then I'll put it on them, and then I'll if they get in the pool, I'll show them in the pool. But if not, I'll sort of say, this cannot go underwater. And if it does, it springs straight back up. So I'll sort of talk through all the options of what they think might happen. And then I'll sort of give reasons as to why either it won't or how I'm going to help support them if it does happen. So it can be really, really confronting for some people. Like I think I was mentioning before, Suze, used to work with a little girl who had some pretty bad experiences in the pool, and the first session we did, she was really clung on to me like she was like a little koala, just would not let go. And we actually spent a good hour, our first session, doing trustful exercises. So she sat on it was like a little kiddies pool, so I had a sort of a little
shallow
seat in the pool, like a shallow bit, and I got her to sit on there, and she would semi let go, and I'm like, okay, lean forward, I'll catch you, and she would just lean forward and I'll catch her, put her back up, and we just did a big chunk of that, just getting used to that. And then slowly started blowing some bubbles and getting used to how to breathe in the water and all of that sort of thing. And I saw a video of her just the other day. She does some swimming with her school, and she is a little jet. Like, she's great. She's like a little fish now. She just, super independent, and her confidence is really, really built up. And, I think it's really important, especially for, like kids and stuff, because there's so much aquatic stuff at schools these days. Like, she went on like a school camp and was able to participate in some of the water activities because we had that confidence that if she did end up in the water, that she'd be okay, and that she had that confidence to keep herself up. And but can definitely be scary.
We do live in Australia, and swimming is very much a part of our school curriculum, I guess. So yeah, it is so important that we're not just like, I guess, teaching people who are able-bodied or whatever how to swim. Like, everyone should probably know how to swim. And I don't know, if they feel comfortable enough to get out in the ocean and give that a go one day, maybe.
Yeah. Look, I'll be up front. I won't get in the ocean. It's terrifying. I'll like knee level maybe, but I'm like, I get scared. I'll go to the pool.
I mean, like, this country, with the heat that it is, and the fact that it's like, when we're at the time of recording, I don't know what it's like in Melbourne right now, but in Sydney, it's going to be 42 degrees tomorrow, and it was 42 degrees on the weekend. So, like, last weekend. So, people, this country just like automatically goes, heat. Water. Okay, so before we wrap up, is there anything you want to talk about?
I guess just sort of rehashing on just some of the benefits. Like, it's just, I cannot speak highly enough about hydro, and I think, it's important to realise that not only can we use hydro for, strength benefits. I've worked with so many clients that just want to swim, and just want to learn how to, do backstroke or freestyle or breaststroke, whatever it is, now that they, have acquired an injury or whatever that looks like for them. So, having those sort of goals is another great reason to do hydro with us as well. So, we can, lots of the sites and the pools that we use will have a hydro pool and a lap pool. So we can, some clients do half in the hydro pool and then we get into the lap pool, or all of it in the lap or all of it in the hydro. So whatever it looks like for that client. But, learning to swim and different strokes of swimming is another really, really big thing that we work on in these sessions as well, if that's something that clients want to do.